good. That's going to be on there. Oh, and I've got left the...
Well, this is an inspiring start to our live stream. Okay, something's apparently not right. Maybe it's that something to do with the fact that stuff is backwards.
Oh no, stuff's
always, no, that's normal.
Stuff's always backwards. It's more. There we go. Has that all gone off?
Yeah.
Okay.
So start off as we always do. Can you tell us if you can hear us or not, please? The grid pattern is normal.
Oh, the grid pattern's not normal.
The grid pattern is still there.
Okay.
But we can be heard, so that's nice.
That's good.
For the most part of this, you're going to be, at least initially, you're going to be hearing the sound of me talking and Graham figuring out how to remove the grid pattern, which is gone.
Okay, that's the other one.
There you go.
Professional.
Look at all these bits. Yeah. Apparently the sound is nice and clean, which is impressive because my microphone's all the way over here. I haven't even bothered to put it on yet.
It's probably going straight into my microphone. Okay, let's get down.
Actually, take it off. Hit the merchandise.
Well, you see, you didn't tell me I'm cutting off the top of heads.
And he's gone again. This is a flashback to how our live streams used to start. With technical incompetence.
Except with sounds. I was going, oh shit, fuck that up. Oh my god, there's posts I've got to read.
Yeah. Sorry, we may. It's, I don't know. We're 1 minute in and we're already behind. Most of the posts are people telling.
Just like yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
So yeah, thank you, and thank you all for tuning in. We've got so many people already. We don't know what we're talking about, but if you get some questions coming, then we will have stuff to talk about.
Have you done it? Whoops.
And we've lost the picture.
So I'm just moving the board. Okay. Do you have anything? What have you been doing lately? While I just get ahead of these questions.
What have I been doing lately? Working. I'm writing a new book. I'm working very slowly, it has to be said, on an upcoming special. As are you. We're in the good position where we've got one special that's that Graham is editing, so that'll be out at some point, and another special that I'm writing. So hopefully one will chase another, because we've struggled to get stuff out recently, just busy and stuff and life and yeah.
Cool. All right.
Sorry, that wasn't hugely informative.
It wasn't hugely informative. I've been to the cinema at all.
I still haven't. I've managed to catch up with I was glad I managed to catch up with Men, which we've got a review out of next week.
Okay.
So I can't really talk about that, can I? There was something else I caught up with that I probably should have seen ages ago. I don't remember what it was.
But it's like just a straight up review of it, but not spoilery. But it's one of those ones where you kind of like want to like talk about your interpretation of it, and
you kind of do. Yeah,
like
there are films like that, and maybe we should start doing spoilery ones as well.
I think
just one more thing to do.
Is it? But let us know. Is it a case that we do the review and then we go right now, tune out because we're going to talk spoilers, or do we do here's the review and here's a spoiler review? So let us know which of those two ideas, because I think some of these streaming ones, they're always interesting things to talk about, and I think your opinion.
And even with the older films, I tend to avoid spoilers on the streaming ones just because. And they're very often ones you haven't seen.
And I do know that people appreciate the fact that we don't ruin the...
Yes. Some people complain that we ruin the bad films.
Yes, people complain that we ruin films that have been out since 1952.
I don't think there's a statute of limitations on spoilers. I just don't think it matters with the bad films.
Yeah.
I would never tell somebody the end of Psycho, even though it's like so well known. But I would never. Just on the off chance.
Yeah. Yes. What was I going to say?
I don't know.
What other review YouTube channel is stealing your thunder? That's a question for you.
I don't know if anyone's stealing our thunder. I'm sure. I know that people do borrow stuff from our videos, but you know that's kind of the nature of the game. I don't think it's that. I don't know why we get so few views compared to some of the other channels. That's what bothers me. But I don't think it's because anyone's stealing our thunder.
Yeah. Thoughts on Christopher Lee as Van Helsing and Peter Cushing as Dracula?
Boy, that's really hard to pitch. They're both fabulous actors. I'm sure it would work, but it's hard to see it working as well, just from a physical presence point of view.
Yeah, not in the same film. Like, I feel Christopher Lee could play a better Van Helsing than Cushing could play Dracula.
Yeah, possibly. I think Cushing would be interesting as sort of like the old Dracula that you meet at the start in the book.
Yes.
Maybe changing over to the younger one. So he could become Christopher Lee. Dracula start the old Dracula is Peter Cushing, and he sort of like regenerates into Christopher Lee when he drinks blood.
Yes. Have you seen the new Avatar movie?
No, of course not. I haven't seen the first Avatar movie.
It's basically the same film, but one's got more water.
It's fine if you like it. Fine. It just doesn't interest me. I think that I've always said. I think that one of the best form of censorship is self-censorship. Don't complain about shit that you know you're not going to like.
I have to say, this is what I actually really like about your stance on things. Is there's talking about other YouTubers who do very well. They do very well complaining about films that they hate, which kind of is what we do. But blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And why then are you wasting so much of your time watching every episode of She-Hulk if you think it's so terrible? Like,
because it gets you a lot of views.
Yeah, but it can't be worth it for your own sanity if you really didn't like it, which makes me think they do kind of like it.
I'd rather talk about stuff that I'm passionate about than talk about Avatar.
Yeah, because you've not seen Rise of Skywalker, as far as I know, have you? So you dropped out of that. You went done.
Yeah, for me, it's very simple. I didn't like The Force Awakens, so why would I go and see its sequel?
Did you not even see the middle one?
No.
Oh, cool.
I'm done.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, there are 3 Star Wars films and the prequels. I'll admit the existence of the prequels because I think the story is right. They're just very badly told.
Yeah.
But the other ones are just fan fiction. I just don't care. I just don't care.
Yeah,
and again, if you like them, fine. I just don't care.
Yeah. I'm just reading what's it.
Sorry, he's just reading questions.
Spoilers in 2 separate videos.
In 2 separate videos. Said. Well, there you go. That's more content.
Yeah. Figure that out.
I think it'd be nice to do for some of them, certainly. Maybe we should just do it for like new ones coming out.
Oh yeah, unless there's any particular you want to go back and
a reason to
talk more heavily about. Greetings from South Carolina. Any chance for Paul Nashi special?
Yes, I'm confident that we will do one sometime, but not imminently.
I have a feeling
there is a documentary about Paul Nashi on YouTube, which I've got earmarked to watch because I'd love to know more about him. Because at the moment, literally all I know is his films
and his house that he just invites sexy people. Go, we're gonna make a movie now. Get your tits out.
Based on that house, I think he must have. He did all right for himself.
Apparently, they gave the end of Psycho away in an episode of Happy Days. I mean, I think it's been spoofed enough.
It's I mean, all I'm saying is I would never do it.
Yeah,
and it's the same with something like The Sixth Sense. Again, it's out there, but I wouldn't do it.
Yeah. Show definitely needs more science advisor.
Yeah, we are looking at expanding the science advisor's role. We've had for a while. We got people to.
He's driving a hard bargain. His contract negotiations.
Oh, the science advisor would love to do more. He really enjoys being a science advisor. I think he'd like to do more science. So I think we did a video a while ago, and we asked people to suggest films that he might be useful to interpret. And I think I will go back to that, and we might do one where there's a little bit more scientific explanation. Do something longer. I'll have to figure out a format for that. Yeah. But yeah, he'd love to do it, and he's got an assistant now, which is great, and she absolutely adores it. Half the views on Valley of the Dragons is my niece watching it, so she can see herself.
As long as she's not skipping the ads. Has your view on the US Godzilla changed? The 90s Godzilla?
No. Why would it?
Yeah, I was wondering about that. Do my members care about? For their money, there's only one Star Wars film, and the rest are fan fiction, which I don't think technically tracks.
It's a very good standalone film.
Yeah. Did you see Kenneth Branagh's Death on the Nile?
I still haven't, actually. And I enjoyed the first one, although I think I heard some iffy reviews of the second that it wasn't as good. I still haven't caught up with it. I've been very remiss about watching new films generally over the last, really since COVID, to be honest.
Yeah.
Keep saying I'm going to get back into the habit of going to the cinema, but there's no longer a cinema in my town, so it now involves a train journey. And it's, it's a bit much.
Yeah, I did see it, and there's a bit there where one of the characters is like, "Oh, my red paint's gone missing," and you went, "Oh, right, so that's gonna come up as fake blood at some point." It's a tough thing because the audiences are now so smart about what to expect from these films.
But you talk about spoilers. One of the great ones is Murder on the Orient Express. I don't think Murder on the Orient Express, to be honest, is a very good story. I think Death on the Nile is a good story.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping it will be a good film when I get to it. Certainly of the Poirot and the TV Poirots, Death on the Nile is one of the best.
Yeah. Joe Kelly just gave us $10.
Thank you, Joe.
To give us medication to help us through all the bad movies we watch.
Well, I need medication these days. Sad, but true.
Would you consider doing a retrospective of Raquel Welch's best and worst films?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think there's. Sadly, I don't think there's quite enough material in the good films, and it's perhaps not quite our brand.
Yeah.
But unless there's a whole bunch of Raquel Welch films, there is a whole bunch of Raquel Welch films I haven't seen, but I don't think there's any terrific classics in there. There's the Three Musketeers ones, obviously, in 1 million years BC, and I think Hanny Calder is quite well regarded, isn't it? There's another Western she did with Sean Connery, and I can't remember what that's called, but I don't think that's as well thought of.
Sean Connery's in a Western?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I believe that's right.
Do you like Psycho?
Yes, I love Psycho. You can hear me talk about Psycho on our Patreon.
No, we made a special video. We took it.
Yeah. Actually, you can see it on YouTube. But then join Patreon.
Then join Patreon.
You can find out my opinions on all Hitchcock films.
All 52 of them.
53.
There you go.
Plus both his short films and Memory of the Camps.
Which leads us into your Throne of Blood review was great.
Thank you. This year on Patreon, you can see me talking about every single Akira Kurosawa film and some other contemporary Japanese films, contemporary with him, not contemporary with me, to fill it out because he didn't make 52 films.
Do you always wear your Kurosawa t-shirt when you do these reviews?
No, I usually wear a jumper because it's quite cold in my flat. But come the summer, I will have the Kurosawa t-shirt on always.
Yes, and we did review Chimes at Midnight, didn't we?
Chimes at Midnight, yes, we did. Yes.
So that's in
fabulous film. I hadn't seen that until we reviewed it, and that was a great film. Loved it.
Patreon.
Yes, it was. Thanks, Mike.
Can you find out from your dad whether Pluto is a planet?
It's not.
But will he?
He will. I will. I mean,
we will find out what he thinks about that.
It's too small.
I would love to see you guys react to your first series episodes.
Oh, I wouldn't. I don't go back and watch them. But
there's one where you've just got like a stinking cold, and it's like just all the way. You can just.
Well, to be honest, the last batch of reviews we did, I was very ill. I was dead on my feet at that point, and you can hear my voice is just cracked. And someone commented that I didn't put enough energy into it or something. Oh, go to hell! You know, we do 52 of these a year. Eventually, you're going to hit ill health.
Yeah.
I don't go back. I'd love to redo those.
Yeah, we've talked about redoing them.
I've been watching the free episodes of Riff Tracks that you can get on Amazon, most of which, it has to be said, the free ones are films we've done because they're public domainy ones. And it is interesting rewatching those films. And it's not that they're coming up with stuff, I wish I'd said that. Sometimes, yeah, for sure. But a lot of the time, rewatching those films, no, there's something there I should have said. And on ones that aren't that long, well, they are that long ago, but ones that are sort of what I think of as peak Dark Corners, as it were.
Yeah.
Very Astro Zombies. I really missed some stuff, some good opportunities there, but they were much shorter then.
Yeah.
And I dare say, if we're still doing this in 5 years' time, I'll look back at the reviews we're doing now and think, oh, that we should have done them longer or whatever.
Yeah. I think there certainly is a case to go back at some of the earlier ones. That
Oh, definitely.
And redo them.
Yeah.
In a bit more lengthy fashion.
But it's not like we're running out of other stuff to review.
Yeah. Well, I feel that we're kind of starting to run dry of giant 50s monsters.
Yes, there we probably are.
We're definitely hitting all of that, which I think our current batch is almost all 80s.
There's some 90s there.
Some very
60s.
80s.
Corruption is 60s.
Yeah.
But yeah. There was a lot of stuff coming through.
Yeah.
From that. I'd like to do a 50s water monster one because I got a fantastic T-shirt for Christmas from my uncle, which I really wanted to premiere, but just haven't had a review that's suitable for it.
A Champagne noticed that Batwoman review has over 250,000 views.
Yes.
We can't imagine why putting Batwoman in a bikini on the thumbnail of a video would make it do so much better than others. This is a mystery to us, and we will endeavor.
As I have said before, you're being sarcastic, but we have a lot of reviews that have similar thumbnails that don't get 250,000 views.
True.
There's something about that one that is that's special in some way.
Any thoughts on Janine Dialman coming in at #1 in the BFI's poll?
I haven't seen the film, so no.
Do you think it's a bit weird that such an obscure film is #1?
Well, no, not really. Why wouldn't an obscure film be any good?
No, it would be. But no, if it was any good, would it not be so obscure?
No, I don't think that's the case at all. I think that the fact that list has been dominated by Citizen Kane and by Vertigo for so long is they're fantastic films. Don't get me wrong, but the fact that they have the weight of Hollywood behind them is certainly a massive help. I think that the Hollywood obscures an awful lot of good films because we're just used to watching that product rather than everything else that's out there. And maybe there's no such thing as the greatest thing in the greatest film in the world is one of the most important things to say about that list. And everybody who is helping compile that list would say there's no such thing as the greatest film in the world. These are their favorites, their choices, and it just gets compiled. And the fact, if all it does is to draw attention to unknown films, then that's fine.
But it's kind of weird that this film they would all agree to put this film at #1.
I don't think they all agreed. It's interesting that it came up in all their lists at the same time. So maybe it came out on Blu-ray or something. It just became more available in some way. Interesting. Kim Newman did a piece on Sight and Sound talking about one specific film that he votes for every time.
Right.
And is going to continue to vote for. And I can't remember what it was now, but it did amuse me. Because it was a horror one with it being Kim Newman, obviously, but still. It was interesting.
So there we go. Did you see Dune, the new one?
No.
I think you'll quite like.
I would. I think I would.
I don't think you'll love it.
Maybe not.
But I think you'll like it.
I loved Blade Runner 2049.
Okay, yeah,
and it's obviously
got a
the same director. And
similar pacing to it.
To be honest, I read the book Dune and wasn't that taken with that. Yeah. So if I do like the film, then maybe it's not such a good version. I don't know.
Would you ever do a film on your favorite horror film crushes?
No.
No.
No, I don't.
I thought about it. I go, who do I even pick? I don't know.
Faye Ray.
Yeah, that'd be the main reason.
I don't. It's just not our brand. I think talk about our brand a lot. It's to be honest, it's just not something I want to do. Yeah. I think that's kind of reductive.
Oh yeah, there's a big backstory to his mustache in the Death on the Nile.
Oh right, okay.
Just in case you needed that. Yeah, and A Haunting in Venice is coming up this year.
What is?
A Haunting in Venice. Which we talked about last time.
It's
not got the same title as the book.
Oh right, maybe that's why I'm confused.
And you knew when you read the
right. Okay. Sorry,
you were much smarter last time we did this.
I was sick last time we did this.
Robin, how do you stay so slim? Which conversely, I go, Graham, why are you so fat?
Well, the honest truth is, I have celiac disease, and my body hasn't been properly processing food for years. There you go.
I don't think you eat much either, do you?
I eat a lot.
Oh, okay.
It just doesn't make a difference.
Oh, there you go.
But so now it's been properly diagnosed. I may get fatter. Who knows?
Please tell us about your upcoming Corman Poe Price stuff. Okay, so first of all, the one that's shot and I've got to edit next is The School of Roger Corman, which looks at all of the different people who worked with Corman, the techniques they learned under his tutelage.
To some extent.
To some extent.
It was a long video.
All for them to experiment with, and then went on to do bigger things.
Yeah.
So that's the next one that's coming out. Optimistically, a month, probably.
Okay.
Optimistically,
I will have finished writing the next Corman one by that point, which is, as you've heard, the Poe Price special, which is just a look at the 8 films that are sort of called the Corman Poe cycle, even though one of them is not actually Poe, and one of them doesn't star Vincent Price. And even though Price continued to star in Poe films for AIP and for films that AIP pretended were Edgar Allan Poe for years to come. I'm sure people know the US title of I'm going to forget the name of the film now. Witchfinder General is The Conqueror Worm, which is a Poe story. And that was just AIP retitling it so that it seemed like part of that cycle. But anyway, yeah, so we're doing a special that's about those films. It's a little bit difficult to do, I'm finding. I think it's going to, just because of the number, they don't really form like an arc, like a story in themselves, the way that obviously the Universal films, the Hammer ones, they span decades. This is 8 films in, I think, 5 years. And unlike the Luton ones, which would be comparable because he made several films in a very, very short time, they're all very similar. So if you talk about all of them in detail, you find yourself repeating yourself. So it's just a question of getting the balance right. I think I'll probably end up talking about the House of Usher a lot and some of the other ones less. Maybe I'm leaning now towards picking the 3 that I like the most and sort of having more to say about those ones, similar to what we did with the Lon Chaney special. But yeah, it's coming along. It's a lot of work. Unlike when we did the Luton one, I could find one biography. Well, there's a few biographies, but I could find one sort of like relatively reliable one. And then you just watch the films and there's some background stuff. There wasn't a lot to go on. And that was the case with the Murnau one, with the Chaney one. This time, so much, because Roger Corman has lived so long and given so many interviews. There is so much information about these films. I don't know how I'm going to find a place to stop. I would also guess
a lot of false information.
I'll tell you what, interviews he gave like 40 years apart.
Yeah.
He is saying the same thing,
okay.
Almost word for word.
Oh, okay.
Is actually very, very consistent in what he says. I think it's because he's talked about them so many times.
Yeah.
Because in the end, if people want him to give an interview, it's not about crab monsters or candy striped nurses or whatever. It's about the Poe films.
Okay. And then what other specials might we do for the rest of the year?
I think we want to do another silent horror special, don't we?
Oh,
we were talking.
Witchfinder General, we also talked about.
Yeah, one about Witchfinder General, maybe.
But a silent one.
I think the silent ones do very well. So just from a commercial point of view, it would be nice to do that. And I think we talked about Caligari, which I've been cagey about doing, but maybe I should address it. I think I'd have some interesting things to say about Caligari because I think my opinions of it would surprise some people in some ways. But it's a fascinating film and a really important one. And I think we could do something interesting about it. It wouldn't just be checking another one off the list, which I'm always cagey. I don't like doing that. I want to have a reason for doing a special.
We've also talked a bit about, because it's come up in some of the Universal ones that we've done, the sort of unmade Universal films.
Yeah,
something
that would be great.
Quite interesting in that to talk about these, but I think it needs some way of doing it because obviously they're unmade films, so there's no footage to go along with it. So how do we how do we do it?
If we had the time, boy.
Yeah,
I think that's. I think it would be very optimistic to say we're getting to that this year.
yeah.
But it would be
Absolutely.
lovely to do that because
So that's another one that's on
the history of these of those films is so interwoven.
Yeah.
Really.
Dum-dum.
Maybe that's what we did. I'm sure some of you, not all of you, probably have seen the Bond special, the Bond girl special we did recently, which didn't go particularly well, but we quite liked that format of talking to each other.
Yeah.
And we were thinking of maybe something else to do. Maybe we should just discuss the history of Universal horror.
It's really, like, I think Bond is probably one area that I can talk better than you can on it.
Well, yeah,
I
that's
think
very clear in the video, although
my-
everybody disagrees with you.
Yes, exactly, which is fine. But yeah, I think I would struggle immensely to match your knowledge of Universal.
I think you're probably giving me
Horrors
too
and
much
Hammers.
credit, but yeah, maybe.
Because everything, the vast majority of what I know is from
From the specials.
From the specials, exactly.
We just have to read it because I'm literally like one book ahead.
So it would be a struggle to have such an informative chat. As we
It would be good to
do.
turn the tables because I mean I watched the Bond films. I don't know all the details.
Yeah.
Anyway,
did you see Joker?
no, that's another one. Sorry, this is just a
that's
litany of films I haven't seen.
That's right. So are you looking forward to Joker too?
I still want to see Joker.
Where we at? We'll go back out. Jack Torner's Night of the Demon. If he got his, how would you feel about that? Showing the demon in Night of the Demon.
I'd rather have seen it how the director wanted it.
Yeah.
I think that's always. I mean, whether or not you want to show a demon at the end, yeah, nobody wants to see that demon. It's really they didn't have the technology for it to make it scary as the rest of the film. Nile McGuinness is way scarier than that demon. That's just so the demon can only undercut.
Yeah. You guys realize longer videos will help the algorithm. I know you want to put your best foot forward, but perhaps you don't realize how happy we'd be just to watch you watching a movie in real time.
I mean, I'd be up for that at some point, but
it's a copyright nightmare.
Yeah,
that's the difficulty with it. With doing something like that, which I mean,
hence riff tracks, of course. Was their whole thing.
Yeah, we did. Obviously, when we did the 24-hour Universal thing, and we did one of those. We tweeted along to all of them.
Yes,
and then one of them we did with Patreon that we watched.
Yeah,
Ghost of Frankenstein with some Patreon members.
Yes,
but they were all on there, so we could all chat about it together, which was kind of fun. And we thought,
yeah,
we would probably do
all
that again.
3 of them, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, I think it was 4 of them. And one of them had his mic on, and you could just hear everything. He had to turn his mic off, unless he had something to say.
It was yeah. I'd like to do another of the 24-hour things, just because I'd like to do something for charity again at some point. Even if it's just me who does it rather than both of us.
Okay, so these are films apparently we haven't done from the 50s. Giant monster movies. Black Scorpion.
Yeah, we did look at that.
Earthy the Spider.
That one, yeah, that one.
The Cosmic Monsters. The Giant.
We've done Cosmic Monsters
Have we?
under a different name.
Okay.
Strange World of Planet X or something like that.
All right. The Giant Gila Monster.
Yeah, I watched. I guess I could give it another watch, but that one, it just wasn't very funny.
And Kronos.
Kronos, I thought was too good in a way. Yeah. That's the thing. There's something we're quite selective about the films we do now. We feel like we've got a standard to keep up.
You wouldn't think that, judging by...
Well, we're quite selective, and then it gets near to the wire, and we just quickly do whatever is there.
Dr. Phoebes, that's another one.
Dr. Phoebes is absolutely one we're gonna do for streaming at some point. Absolutely.
Is it? Is
if it's streaming somewhere?
I mean, is it a streaming one, or is it one that?
Yes.
Is it more like a little bit more chitty chatty with it?
What do you mean?
Like the 2
In what
films.
format?
Well, I don't know, like something a bit longer than a streaming.
Yeah, I mean, if there's a third way, I mean, it's not a bad film review. I don't think it's a special, but if there is another way,
But I guess when we did Gremlins runs about 10 minutes.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's like a shorter version where you get
So sort of like
super-
a streaming featurette.
streaming featurette. There you go. Was it bedtime? Or was
I
that-
don't know. I don't know what that noise was.
Oh, that's my. Oh, actually, you know what? That's my calendar saying we're filming tomorrow.
Oh gosh, are we?
Who would you rather gone on a date with if you could have? Raquel Welch, Ursula Andress, or Caroline Monroe?
I'm not answering that question.
Why not? I would imagine Caroline Monroe probably has the best personality.
I've met Caroline Monroe and she's got a lovely personality, so
yeah.
I will say that.
I don't get that from Ursula Andress.
Ursula Andress seems very cold, but I haven't met her. I haven't met Raquel Welch. I seem unlikely to do so now. I like the fact that Caroline Monroe embraced all those films which she was in, and Ursula Andress and Raquel Welch not so much.
Someone wants to see us play Holmes and Watson.
Really? Yeah, I think that's a great
I don't know
idea.
which way round that would be.
I do. I'd love to play Sherlock Holmes.
The Hidden 2 apparently is a hidden gem.
Oh, okay.
Tarantula is another one.
Yeah, it's not really. It's not. I mean, it's not a B movie.
And
Literally,
Them.
it's not a. Them again is.
That's
Them is a fan. I mean, yes, the ants look a little bit ropey, but Them is a fantastic film. Tarantula, I don't think is a fantastic film. I'm trying to think if I've even seen Tarantula.
Yeah,
that's Leo G. Carroll. That might be worth a look, but I don't think it's quite bad enough.
Ask about Coffin Joe. So we've got the Coffin Joe box set, and you've had a look at it.
Have I?
You think so?
I think you're thinking of a different.
No, Coffin Joe. I gave it to you.
Okay.
Mexican one.
That's Coffin Joe, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, if we're thinking of the same one.
About 9 films.
Yeah, I didn't think that was Coffin Joe.
Yeah.
Okay, well, in that case, we're not doing them. Not least because they have no option of dubbing on the DVDs that we've got. It's all subtitles, which is no good for our bad film reviews.
Might be able to find dubbed.
I was also very bored.
Yeah. Have you seen the Redfield trailer? I did send it to you, but did you watch it?
No.
I did.
Oh wait, did I? Maybe I did.
Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, maybe I did. Yes.
It's one of these ones where I hate it as soon as he had like superpowers.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's an element of being able to have this thing and ground it somewhat in reality rather than he eats a fly and is suddenly Superman.
Yeah, it's taking it. I mean, obviously, it's not really anything to do with Redfield, but it's taking it too far away from that source material. The one I'm looking forward to some extent is the Demeter, which seems a more interesting take on Dracula.
Did you see Cloverfield?
No,
I did. Don't really remember it very well. I do remember like they had like an issue with this size of the Statue of Liberty's head because it's much smaller than you think it would be. So then when it crash lands in the street, it looks too small. So I think they had to make it bigger. Just one of those things about people's perceptions.
Makes me wonder if they changed it for Ghostbusters or Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
Or what's the Hitchcock one?
Spoilers.
I didn't mention the
I don't ruin films.
Did I mention the context?
They're just sitting there waiting the whole film for the Statue of Liberty to come up.
Context is everything.
Thank you, Ravenhouse Mystery, sending us $10 dues. Have you seen any of the Scream franchise?
Yes.
One?
I've certainly seen the first one. I may have seen the second.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen any more than that.
Yeah.
I remember watching the first Scream film at a very drunk, not screening exactly, but just round a friend's house when I was at university, all of us drunk. And every time Henry Winkler came on, including, now this is a spoiler, so if you haven't seen Scream, you can mute now, including when Henry Winkler gets stabbed, we were all there just going, hey, hey, which was hilarious to us at the time.
It's that Scream franchise really interesting because it came in at this time and it was like, oh, we're playing with the rules of the genre. and their main sort of twist on it is to have two killers.
Right.
And that's sort of the twist of the film, is that there's more than one. And then now that's what it is in the Scream film. That's what makes it a Scream film, is two killers. And now they're just about to release 6. It's the 6th one coming,
which is really quite a low number for given how long it's been out there when you look at other franchises.
But now it's sort of just become like the same film over and over again, when the first one was so much about reinventing it. And at no point have they tried to reinvent it. Just like, oh, our gimmick is it's even in the last one, we went, it's probably someone who has a history with the killer and someone who's a big fan, probably this guy. And then it was him.
Well, it's problematic with Scream because I mean, I don't think the whole thing of Scream is that there's two killers. The whole thing of Scream was that it's sort of a meta look at horror.
Yes, but that was their sort of twist.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. But it was about sort of like looking at horror from that perspective. But now it's become the mainstream thing, so it no longer it doesn't have that anymore.
Yeah,
it's become the thing that it was mocking.
Yeah,
and so pointless. I mean, most franchises just jump off a cliff.
Yeah. So now because this next one's in New York, so they've kind of got to the Jason in Manhattan part of the franchise,
of the cycle.
Exactly. One quick question for you, Robin: Universal or Hammer, Dracula and Frankenstein? Which do you prefer?
I prefer the Hammer Dracula, the Universal Frankenstein. Although I love the Hammer Frankenstein.
Okay. Other questions. Longer videos, please. Todd Browning special. We have talked about that.
Yes, even got a title worked out.
Have we?
I decided. Well, to be honest, I think it would have been really clickbaity at the time, and now it's probably not because the moment has passed. And I wanted to call it Horror's Greatest Showman.
Okay.
Because of course he was a circus performer.
Yeah.
He did an act in which he was buried alive, and you could look down through a glass.
What's going on with your play?
Nothing.
That just stopped dead. Did we do that before?
COVID stopped
it.
COVID. I had a director. We were in talks with a producer. It got stopped dead by COVID, and I haven't had the heart to pick it up again. I haven't even looked at it.
I think you should get that heart back.
I'm busy with other stuff, and now I think, was it ever really that good?
Oh shit! Someone gave us $50.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I'll scroll down and see if you said anything. No, I can't see where it is. Oh,
there it was. Wow.
There it is. Thoughts on asylum films?
Not a big fan of asylum films.
So yeah,
they don't suit us.
Yeah, especially for us, is because they're too knowingly shit.
Yeah.
It was kind of fun. The Sharknado ones were kind of fun because it was like if you got into just going along with the joke, and then they had like a vote whether Tara Reid's character would live or die, and they escalated it to stupid points much faster than a Fast and Furious franchise. So they got sharks in space, I think, in the third one.
Wow.
But otherwise, yeah, they're just cheap versions of. Yeah, it's too much. It's cynical.
Yeah,
it's a cash grab.
There's no point in making fun of something for being bad when it knows it's bad. That it's not trying to be anything else.
Yeah, it's trying to fool your grandma into going, here's your Transmorphers that you wanted.
Sorry, we are so far behind on the questions. I think you'll just have to listen to us talk.
Shall I go? Children of Corn remake coming up.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
Might be interesting. I didn't like the trailer though. I can find you a question and I can read some more.
One of them just says, "What about London After Midnight?"
Okay, what about it?
I don't know. That's, this is the problem, that there are conversations going on within the thing that are nothing to do with us. I don't know what that's answering.
What about Metropolis?
Oh, maybe that's talking about silent films. But well, we couldn't do London After Midnight. It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Man, and now that's problem is the person who's probably stashed away their copy of London After Midnight. They've now waited too long.
Think if they've been storing it properly,
Yeah.
then it'll be fine. They just need to have stored it properly.
But it's also out of copyright, so the moment that they now publish it, everyone can just copy it for free. So they can't make money out of it anymore. Just go back and watching some of the videos that they liked. Robin, how is your father and mother?
They're both well. Thank you for asking.
We answered that one. American Werewolf in Paris, worthy or unworthy sequel?
I found it an unworthy one.
I would agree. History of Universal Horrors, sold. I'll be there day one.
That was that's a real indicator of how far behind we are.
Battle of the Universal Monsters.
Yeah, that's the same thing, I think.
I'd watch the Universal thing. No interesting Bond girls. They all seemed absolutely brainless. A lot of them were.
But the one who won definitely deserved it.
Yes.
But I won't say who.
Carnival of Souls. That's one that we need to do something with at some point. I think we've
Probably, yeah.
For a while. I would watch a Universal horror documentary. Hag horror. Have we done that? We've done a couple of hag horrors, haven't we?
Yeah, I'm just
Flesh,
Hollywood Horror
yeah, the Hollywood
House.
and the one with
Trog. Is Trog one?
Kind of, and then the other one was what's the socks? Oh, the long way round to getting to who this is. Kim Basinger played a lookalike in LA Confidential.
Ah, yeah, Flesh Feast.
And the
Veronica Lake.
Veronica Lake, and you began with V.
But I think it's impressive we got there off of that.
How we think about things. Have we ever done a Hammer marathon? No. And hearing that Million Years BC was their 100th film. Man, they churned out a lot of films.
Well, no, I mean, it depends when they started counting.
Exactly.
They've been around since the 30s.
Yeah.
I think it was they just decided this would be their 100th film. They were on a roll at the time. That's really Hammer's heyday, sort of the mid 60s, in terms of quality and success. In the 60s, Hammer's making such diverse films in the 60s.
Yeah.
They really do. I mean, She and 1 Million Years BC would be great examples.
Yeah. Yeah, we've saw a lot of Hammer films we haven't really touched on, or very sort of loosely touched on.
Yeah.
To get to.
There's lots of, which is good. They make good streaming reviews. You can always guarantee a decent showing for a Hammer streaming review.
When we do a review of Coppola's Dracula, which we have done, we did a review of that
years ago.
Branner's Frankenstein.
Yeah, I suppose we could. I don't know. It's not as. I find Coppola's Dracula to be absolutely ridiculous. I don't find that with Branner's Frankenstein. I don't think it doesn't work for me. But I think it's a more earnest attempt to do something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Quatermass, that's another one.
Quatermass, for sure. Well, we were sort of waiting on Hammer's reboot of Quatermass, but that seems to have faded, which is rather sad.
Yeah.
Because I think that was something they could legitimately have rebooted.
Yeah.
So maybe we should just do that.
Yeah.
3 films there.
3 films in the TV series.
Well, that's not. Yeah. Okay.
You'd have to do that as well.
Well, in that case, you'd have to do both TV series.
Okay. Deal.
There may even be more.
Is it just 3 movies?
It's just 3 Hammer movies.
Okay, and then somebody else did another one.
I'm trying to think. I mean, it's Quatermass is complicated. There's a lot.
Yeah.
I think is there a radio thing as well? I'm pretty sure there is. And there's the TV series, which the first Hammer film is a remake of the TV series, and then there's the much later TV series with John Mills, which is completely different. And none of these things have any continuity really.
Do a review of Doctor Who and the Daleks: Invasion of Earth. Is that the other Peter Cushing one?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Maybe when the new series rolls around, we should do that.
Yeah.
Should have done. Oh no, Bernard Cribbins isn't in that one, is he?
Yeah.
No. Ignore me.
House of Wax. That's another one we've not touched on.
No.
There's a few of them.
Well, we said I still quite like the idea of doing. I don't know. Again, it would be a 10-minute thing, this featurette thing that we're talking about, but all of the House of Wax, because there's a lot of films, and they're not necessarily all versions of the same story. But there's the one with Fay Wray and Lionel Barrymore,
and the one with Paris Hilton.
Yes, and exactly, and then that one I think is the Vincent Price one we're talking about, which is a remake of the Fay Wray one. So there's a lot of films called House of Wax or some variation on that. And that might be quite cool to do.
Don't know what this was referring to, but someone said Peter Cushing's waistcoat! !
Okay.
Or
I
obviously
don't know what that was referring to.
Whether that should be a video where we review all of Peter Cushing's waistcoats.
No idea.
I'm partial to a waistcoat. I wish they were more a thing.
Yeah, I feel like I should wear waistcoats more. The problem is I don't wear any other clothes that sort of suit the waistcoat.
What are you wearing there, though?
I'm wearing a Dark Corners t-shirt. I'm also wearing a badge that says Micro Influencer, which was made by my friend Helen, whose Etsy shop is called Superlative Gifts and makes stuff like this.
This is a disturbing comment.
Oh, yeah?
It is just Caroline Monroe.
Well, that'll be the who would you want to date?
Yeah,
that is a disturbing comment because that was like half an hour ago.
Exactly. Interested in Peacock's Friday the 13th prequel series, Crystal Lake?
Okay.
No.
Are we? Is that?
Yeah.
Oh, right. No, not really.
No.
It's on a channel I don't get, so I can't afford to be interested.
Monolith Monsters has been mentioned, which we have done.
Which we have reviewed.
It's one that we kind of like the idea of.
Yeah, it was just such a shame. The scientists were such idiots.
Yeah.
They ruined it.
Return of the Living Dead. That's one that we should do at some point. That's a lot of fun.
I think we got a better Living Dead one in the next batch.
I don't know if better's quite the right word.
For us. Better for us.
Don't Look Now.
Oh, that would be an interesting. I don't know if it's streaming anywhere. Or if,
No.
I don't know if you want to address Don't Look Now in a streaming review. It's too big in its way. That's such a great film.
Can you do streaming Trouble with Tracy? Considered the worst TV show ever made. Well, it wouldn't be a streaming one.
No.
So streaming's for good stuff. But
and we don't review TV really.
Yeah. Although I thought we should at some point and call it Small Screen.
I think if there was all the time in the world, then that would be great. But you know,
Food of the Gods 2, we've done that, haven't we?
No, we've just done Food of the Gods.
Okay. So it's Good Night, History Lover, who left maybe half an hour ago. Redfield looks awful, but Nick Cage is camping it up a storm. Blair Witch Project.
What about it?
What's your thoughts on that?
I think it. I mean, there's no denying it was a moment.
Yeah.
And it sort of, and it was. You know, if you were sitting in the cinema watching that, then it was pretty scary.
How much?
But not really for me.
How much do you think Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman would have been improved had they left Bela Lugosi's dialogue in?
Probably not all that much. I've read the dialogue. I think it gave more depth to the relationship between those two characters, which I think would have been important. That would have been improvement. But I think in the end, I think the main benefit you get from putting the dialogue back is that it stops Lugosi from taking the blame for that film. I don't think it would make it a great film.
It's also because they cut so much of it out that at the end of Ghost of Frankenstein, and it's very clearly Bela Lugosi's in Frankenstein.
Yeah.
And it's his character. You don't get to see Bela Lugosi camping it up in the same way.
No.
Like all of that stuff would have to have been cut, the Igor type thing. So he becomes like a really flat monster in that film because of that. So was he in these scenes where he's talking, is he Bela Lugosi camping it up Igor style, which I think is one of his best roles?
Based on the dialogue, you'd have to say to some extent yes, because certainly he's talking about ruling the world again. There's still these grand visions that you get at the end of the previous film.
Yeah.
There's no evidence of that in his performance as it is on screen. As you say, it's all very flat.
Would you write a riff on Hound of the Baskervilles?
Would I write a riff on Hound of the
Yes.
Baskervilles? I don't know really what that means. I wrote a book that has a lot of references to Hound of the Baskervilles in it. It's called The Werewolf of Priory Grange.
Ah, yes.
But whether or not I don't think there's a specific version of Hound of the Baskervilles that we'd riff, as it were.
Polish horror movies. Have we done any Polish horror movies?
I don't think we have.
Do like horror movies from other countries because they've got a very different sensibility.
Yeah.
They don't.
You feel like you've discovered something.
Well, that's it. I think the way there's like a sort of Western way of doing a horror film that just gets regurgitated over and over again. And then you'll see something in another culture and you've got their myths and legends which blend into it, which makes them more unique. And they're also have their own formulas.
Yeah.
So we talked about we did Inhuman Kiss.
Yes, that's a good example.
Which we quite liked, but somebody from Indonesia was just saying this is literally every single movie.
Yeah.
Every single movie has like a flying head or something like, but it's very tropey of its culture, but we don't see as much of it, so it's not. It's relatively fresh to us.
I was delighted when we discovered V, the Russian one, although set in Ukraine. That was it's just felt completely unlike anything I'd seen before. I really enjoyed it.
Have you seen Rod Serling's film Encounter with the Unknown?
No, I looked it up on YouTube, but the only version they've got is so ropey that it just wasn't worth watching like that. But it's one sort of aware of, but I haven't found a good version.
What classic monster would you bring back
for like a film series?
Yeah.
Oh, I'd still like to do. If it was one that I was bringing back, then Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, I suppose, whether or not he counts as a monster. But I'd like to do a version of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde because I still don't feel that anyone's really quite got it right.
Yeah.
There are good films based on that story, but I don't think there's anyone that captures the real darkness of it.
It's an interesting one. Any radio play or serial type recommendations?
Gosh, radio stuff. I mean, if we're not limited, I guess it depends what you're looking for. I listened to the radio version of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy absolutely interminably as a child. I can recite that, and it's still the best version. It's better than the TV show. It's better than the books.
Yeah,
that's extraordinary.
Yeah,
but I'm struggling to think of anything else. There was quite a good, just thinking of horror. I wouldn't say this is absolutely brilliant, but Mark Gatiss did a radio adaptation of an unmade Hammer Dracula film.
Oh yeah.
I think it's The Unquenchable Thirst of Dracula. And that was done very well, I thought, for radio. A lot of good people in it. And it was good. And it was nice. It's nice that got made in some respect. So if you're looking for a horror one, then maybe that's probably still out there somewhere.
Any thoughts on Buffy the Vampire Slayer?
I love Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Although I rewatched it during lockdown, rewatched a lot of stuff during lockdown, and I remember enjoying the series to the end more than I did this time round. Really, the first 3 series, it's just extraordinary, and after that, it's fine, but it's never quite the same.
So I was like, this was sent at 11:41. How far behind are you? It's now 11:54, so about 15 minutes.
Not bad, not bad. We've caught up some.
There's some chat about sequels that are better than the originals.
There's a few.
What is your opinion of the TV film Satan's Triangle? And thank you, Stephen Dermont, for your generous donation.
Thank you. I don't think I've seen Satan's Triangle.
What's the use of super chat if you don't answer? I know we tried to get to it, and we did answer that one, which was about trouble with Tracy. That generally we don't do TV shows. If it's a TV movie, we might do it. So yes,
we do our best.
We
There's
do
an
our-
awful lot
we
of
do
stuff.
our
You
best,
have to see
and
this.
I lose track of where everything is.
Unfortunately,
So now I'll go quickly scroll down to
Yeah.
the other one. Thank you for Wilbur, $15 dues. Thank you both for your years of entertainment. Charles.
Thank you. Yeah, every now and then it jumps ahead, so we lose where we were, so we have to go back and find
I'm
it.
trying to figure
It
out
is
where
difficult.
everything is. Yeah. Did you do Trilogy of Terror?
Trilogy of Terror?
No, we haven't.
I don't think so.
No, it sounds like an anthology portmanteau.
Well, we do
film.
several of them. We
We
have
have
done
done a few of those.
Lose track of what we've done now.
Would you consider Hammer's Lost Continent for a review?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe for a bad movie review.
Yeah.
But it has Dana Gillespie, and so it's got to be done at some point.
Oh, listen.
Someone else I've
Okay.
met.
Couple of bits on this one. Would you consider Polanski's Macbeth a horror?
Yes, I'd consider Macbeth a horror. It has a horror story. So
Mhm.
yeah, definitely.
How do you feel about doing Polanski films now?
I don't see a problem with reviewing them. I mean, they're out there, and this is the thing. There are he made some very good films. Just because if you start not watching the films of objectionable people, then you cut out an awful lot.
Yeah.
Particularly from the golden era, when people were a little bit, when directors were more dictatorial, and when the rules were very, very different about what you could do. You deny yourself an awful lot.
Yeah.
And certainly with dead directors, it achieves absolutely nothing. With living directors, I think they're not reviewing them. It doesn't help and make a difference.
Yeah.
The artist has to be. I think the art is separate from the artist. I might not pay to see a Polanski film anymore, but
we'll get it illegally. Make sure he doesn't profit in any way.
Well, I mean, a new one. I don't think he's drawing in a lot of money when these things get put on streaming services.
Apparently, there were 3 early Quatermass series.
Were there 3?
Apparently so.
Okay. I'm perfectly happy to believe that. I don't know a huge amount about Quatermass.
Do you ever enjoy watching movies with horror hosts like Elvira, Stengali, Joe Bob Briggs, etc.?
We don't really get them in this country.
Well, I do remember
Mark Kermode once.
Used
That
to
was
do-
very different.
used to do them.
Yeah, but it's not like he's dressed up as a.
No.
He was just introducing. He was just curating a season of horror films as a critic, which I think is very different.
I remember him doing, but he would come back between commercial breaks. For one particular strand that he did.
Yeah.
I remember him doing that. I'm talking about the one I really remember is obviously I don't remember it because the title is completely Andromeda Strain.
Right.
And he talks about how you know which planes are going to crash in the film because they're the ones that don't have like a recognizable Pan Am or whatever in the movie. Andromeda Strain is quite an interesting film. I don't know actually where it would fall.
No,
but it actually does.
There's a lot of interesting films out there that we could do.
It makes really good use of split screen stuff where you have the people come into a building and then there's dead bodies, and they sort of do it as a split screen. So you're same time as you're seeing these dead bodies, you're seeing their reaction to it. Okay.
So don't think that's answered your question.
No. So yeah.
We just don't get them.
But yeah, the horror host thing isn't really a thing here. Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. Yeah, I've heard it's pretty goddamn terrible.
I just don't have any interest in that.
Yeah. Right. If you had to recommend 3 horror movies of your choice to people new to the genre, what do you pick?
I think it would depend on the person. I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's really difficult to answer questions like that. What do you?
Well, no, you go. It's just so we go. I just want. Give me 3 horror films.
You just want 3 great horror films. I don't know. I'm tending towards, for some reason, one of the ones that jumped into my head was, I'm blathering because I can't remember the title now, not Kuroneko, Onibaba, which I just think is an extraordinary horror film. I always go to Bride of Frankenstein, but I don't know if it would very much depend on who I'm introducing. This is why I keep saying that.
I have a tough time sort of thinking of Bride of Frankenstein as a horror film.
Yeah, it's just too much. It's not a way of introducing people to horror.
But I would definitely say The Exorcist.
Yeah.
Then like Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a really solid horror film. But is that where I want to start somebody off? Like, do you want to give them something that's going to ruin everything else? You want to give them something a little bit to build up on before you get to something.
Yeah. Maybe Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah,
I think that's a great low budget. That is just a horror film.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the way to go. But it would completely depend on who I'm introducing them to. Maybe I'm just taking this too seriously.
Well, if you went right, you've got to give them one Universal film. So
that would be Bride of Frankenstein. It's
you've
the
got
best.
to give them one Hammer film.
I suppose probably Dracula.
And one modern horror film.
Train to Busan.
There you go. Done it. Mission accomplished. Yeah. Yeah, where we are. We just got midnight here, so we can do like 15 more minutes.
Yeah.
Have you done Curse of the Aztec Mummy? No, it's on our list. This is kind of some of the films that we've picked up to review.
Yeah.
So I don't know what any of these are like. We've got that.
They can't see that for shit. That's Night of the Sorceress and Lorelei's Grasp.
Yeah. We got It Came from the Swamp. We got all of these ones to do. The only one we've done from here was looks like 7, I think.
Oh, God.
7 or 8. The only one we've done so far was Sting of Death.
Yeah, that was a great one. That was a great one.
Santo films, we got those to do.
Yeah.
This one I'm kind of interesting. Journey to the Far Side of the Sun. This is about they discover a counter Earth, which is an Earth the other side of the sun, so nobody can see it.
Yes.
Which the science advisor has already debunked. Then there we are. There's the Aztec Mummy collection, recently released on Blu-ray. We've got to get to. We've got all the Leprechaun films that we're debating about doing. This is one that's probably long overdue. Troll. There we go. Whoop. And Troll 2. So this is Troll, the complete collection. Also has the documentary, The Best Worst Movie. So this is one we haven't done so far because it is notoriously one of the worst films. Yeah. And so it's been covered a lot. So, but at some point.
Aztec Mummy, we may just do the one because I understand that the amount of reused footage, certainly in the second film, is insane.
Then we got the Herschel Gordon Lewis box sets, which we've done a fair few of his films, but we've not really done any from this box set. So Colour Me Blood Red's one that we said we want to look at again. Then we got Something Weird, Gruesome Twosome, because it's a good idea. The idea of
no reason to do it again. We've reviewed it once. It's not getting any better.
No, but I think it's getting worse. That's the beauty.
Oh, right.
Of it. Gruesome Twosome, we've done. Taste of Blood, we haven't. Blood Feast, we've done. Scum of the Earth, we haven't done. 2000 Maniacs, not done. Moonshine Mountain, She Devils on Wheels, we've done. Where the print that we use for that is such garbage that this.
I don't want to do the She Devils on Wheels again. Was not a good one.
Yeah, but it sometimes makes you want to take the Blu-ray version and just clean it up and do like a sort of special edition version of it. Wizard of Gore, your favorite of all time. And Gore Girls, so that. And then we just got this one, the films of Michael J. Murphy. If you go over to Ben Simpson's channel, he's done like a review of this box set about what's in there, and he opens it all up. So go check him out. He's a good friend. So yeah, that's a bunch of the stuff that we've got on the pile to do at some point. So that was answering your Aztec.
That's the next year, really sorted, I think.
No,
this is the problem we have. When you start doing this, you think
we've got to spread 52. A lot of that stuff out, though.
Yeah. We only do 52 reviews a year.
Yeah. Someone's going to dinner.
That's nice.
Tony, $10.
Thank you.
That's his new name. Tony,
Tony,
$10.
$10.
Tony, $10. Really enjoys watching our reviews. Thank you. Do you prefer Tales from the Dark Side or Tales from the Crypt?
I don't have any preference. Haven't really seen much of either.
Would you review 1989's Clown House?
I don't see why not.
Do you know it?
Nope.
That's on the cards. What's your favorite horror movie?
Bride of Frankenstein.
Flowers in the Attic. Any thoughts on that? 80s?
No. Yeah, I know. I sort of vaguely know it, but no.
Another shout out for the Devil's Triangle.
The Devil's Triangle. I think, yeah, it was Satan's Triangle earlier. I didn't recognize the name. Devil's Triangle. Yes, I have heard of that. I did try looking at that for a review, and it didn't quite.
It's got a McClure
quite
in it,
work.
and we already used the McClure joke.
We use the McClure joke every time it comes up. Every
Um,
time he comes up, because it gets funnier with the more reviews we have of him.
Would you consider doing a streaming review of The Medusa Touch, starring Richard Burton?
Potentially, yeah.
Science
Ruling anything
Advisor
out.
has gone to bed.
Ah, right. Good night, Science Advisor.
And
Probably sometime
Mrs.
ago.
Science Advisor.
I don't blame them.
Everyone in Hollywood's objectionable.
Speaking of objectionable, can you believe the BAFTAs forgot Bernard Cribbins?
I have to say I don't really care about award shows.
I didn't watch it, but I woke up to a lot of angry people on Twitter, and I completely agree. It was the in memoriam thing.
Yeah,
and he got left out. So did Leslie Phillips, actually.
Yeah, I guess it can be so easily done.
Bernard, I mean,
I know it's like annoying. When did he die?
Last year.
Sort of like, sometimes they die too close to the date, and then they've already made the package.
The thing is, he was actually, and they say, well, we're not really sure because he's really more of a TV star. He was nominated for a BAFTA for his film work, so I think that it's not a great argument. He was in Railway Children, one of the great British films. I bet they will remember him in the TV one because people have made such a fuss.
How would you define horror?
I wouldn't.
Have you seen the? I think it's on Shudder, so probably not. There's a big documentary on folk horror on Shudder.
No, I still haven't seen that.
We have to,
my free trial.
We'll grab another free trial.
Ran out. Yeah, I don't know how long you have to wait before you get you can get another free trial out of Shudder. There's a lot of streaming services actually. I want to try and grab a free trial on and do some more stuff to spread, because at the moment the streaming is falling into the pattern of Amazon and YouTube and Netflix, and that's about it.
So why does the video look washed out? This comes up a lot, so I obviously get the blame for this.
Quite right.
The tech person.
Rightly, right.
It's a setting on the camera which is like a film look, so it makes all of the colors there, but it's muted, and then when you take it into the edit, it's easier to manipulate. But this is like its raw output. If I switch it to another setting, it's like just to me looks too overcolored,
right?
And I don't like it. Ideally, I need to run it through something in the computer so I can do a quick grade on it before it gets outputted back to you guys.
But that wouldn't be live.
And it would be live. It's just that I've not really figured out how to do it. Because usually we sort of rush here to do this, like,
it's all very.
If you saw the beginning of the video, you saw how it starts. So trying to figure out how to do the grade. There's a lot of different things I can do with the live streaming, which I don't do because I've just not had the time to sit down and play around and learn it. Be nice to have like the Twitter account coming up or be able to cut to clips quickly or something. Having a bit more planning would be lovely. But that's why it looks washed out, because it's ungraded footage. Toronto Excellent, 2000 Maniacs Bonkers. Have you considered Atlantis, the Lost Continent? I feel we've done that, but
We haven't.
I wouldn't be surprised if there was 3 films with the same name.
We haven't done that.
Okay.
It's one of the Atlantis ones we haven't done. I think that was one I quite liked as a kid. I haven't looked back at that one. I don't think that I'm getting Atlantis films mixed in my head. I don't think that's the one with Vincent Price, which is another one that we have considered at some point. But I can't remember what the one with Vincent Price is called. So
did you see All Quiet on the Western Front?
No. I'm such a fan of the original film, and I know that this is not really All Quiet on the Western Front, which does irritate me a little bit.
So people mentioned Tubby. Yeah, Tubby's been a bit of a nightmare for us because we've put reviews up and people have gone, oh, this is on Tubby. And there's clearly like loads of great stuff on Tubby, but we can't access it from the UK. But now I've sorted out a VPN. So now we can access stuff from Tubby, which is good because we did a review for The Executioner Part 2.
Yes.
But the copy we did the review from just looked like utter garbage. I bought a copy and it was missing a scene that had a very good West Side Story joke. And so we shelved it.
Pretty average West Side Story joke.
So we just shelved the whole... Because even then, even though I got it on DVD, the print was still utter garbage.
That's been like a year now.
I spent a good amount of money on that DVD. It was totally wasted. But I found it on Tubby and the copy looks really good. So I'm very excited to get that. And also there just seems to be a lot of interesting stuff on Tubby. So yes, that's great. Okay, from Zandra, $50. Jeez, you people are way too
very much.
generous.
Thank you.
But it's targeted at me because of my failings. I know I know it's spoilers for you when you get to do Video Nasty series sometime in 2039. But what do you think is the worst of the core 72 nasty films and why? Probably some of the like Nazi exploitation ones are probably the worst. For just being so utterly distasteful.
Well, the thing is, if Nazis are your bad guys, you can make them do pretty much anything.
Yes,
and it's all.
But
fair game.
Then to have that under the guise of just rapes and what have you, it's like I don't know why you're watching that. What I will again, I'm just going to pimp Ben Simpson's channel again because he's been doing these really nice shorts on all of the Video Nasties that are wicked funny.
It can be done.
It can be done. So yeah, go check out Ben Simpson's channel because he's been doing some really good stuff on there with the Video Nasties. So yes, and I will get around to doing some more of the Video Nasties things, especially now that you donated $50 dues. I feel pressured now. Okay, we've got 2 minutes. Least favorite horror genre? I'm going to say Nazi exploitation.
I was going to say found footage, but I think that I probably dislike Nazi exploitation more.
Oh, apparently Tubby is to be.
Is it?
Yes. Have you done Hammers Straight On Till Morning? No.
We haven't done any of the sort of that side of Hammer. Don't take sweets from strangers, something like that. That's another one we should definitely do. That's a real classic that doesn't get a lot of press.
But we've not done Reptilian. We've not done Reptilian one. Yeah.
The Reptile.
The Reptile.
The Plague of the Zombies we haven't
Plague
done.
of the Zombies, that was the other one.
We should do a special on just Hammer horrors we haven't done.
There might be something in there. That.
Yeah, we haven't. We've done a lot of the horrors. We haven't done any of the thrillers. I think is the sort of the dividing line. Most of which are sort of black and white and slightly cheaper, and don't have don't generally have the more recognizable cast. But there's some really good films in there.
Why is it so difficult to get a good American Godzilla design? I think it's about ownership of an idea that when they do it, they want to put their own stamp on it. I would basically say that's where it comes from. That I think, especially with the 90s one, he didn't really want to make a Godzilla film. He wanted to make a dinosaur film running amok in New York, but having Godzilla there in the title gives it branding. So I think that's where a lot of that comes from. Yeah, which is quite often the issue. I think people wanting to just put their own stamp on it.
Yes, very much.
Certainly, it's something that happens with script rewrites. So
yeah,
somebody gets given a script to rewrite, and they're going to get paid and a credit based on how much they rewrite. So whether or not it needs rewriting, they're going to change as much as possible in order to get a better credit and get better money.
Well, you get it with Doctor Who, that every time a new showrunner comes in, they want to do something that makes it their own, and that very often rubs fans like me up the wrong way, because it shows very little respect for 60 years of history.
Are you excited for the new season?
Reasonably. I'm always, my sort of like, I don't think that my favorite era of Doctor Who is ever going to change, and and they have changed more than I want from what the series used to be. But it's it will be interesting. It will be interesting to see what they do next. And I am excited to see Ncuti Gatwa in the role.
It's really surprised me how long this run has lasted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just thought that people would get a bit tired of it. I remember when it relaunched with.
Well, views have certainly gone down since then.
Yeah, but I remember watching that and went, "This is a bit shit." And people will often make this like excuse about Doctor Who that the effects are laughably bad. But it's like, yeah, they weren't on purpose laughably bad. Where it kind of, you really felt the budget constraints in that first season back.
Maybe.
Like really sort of poor CGI kind of thing. But now they're much better.
Yeah, the problem is that they're pouring all that money into those effects, and I don't think they're necessarily doing themselves any good. I'd go back to the older ones in a heartbeat. I personally, obviously, I like the Tom Baker era is my favorite, and it's mainly just because it's breathlessly imaginative, and there are genuine mysteries and proper stories, and I don't give a toss that everything's made of cardboard. Why would I?
Yeah,
I just want to hear a good story.
Do you still want to do a Doctor Who special? That's something you mentioned.
It's something. It's a big anniversary next year, so I think it would be something to do. I just don't know. I don't have a clue what to do. I think it might end up being quite a personal one. I'll just take that and just. I think say if there's nothing new to say about Doctor Who, the only new thing you can say is what you think about it. And maybe that's worth something.
I do think that's something that you undervalue, is that a lot of people are tuning in specifically to hear your opinions. Not
crazy idiots.
Not me. I'm fed up of them. But for everybody else, that is kind of. I think why a lot of people tune into a lot of YouTubers is to hear their opinions on things, and I think that's a good thing. And it's something, because that's something that only you can bring to it.
Exactly.
Your interpretation.
Exactly.
To it.
But I don't know what to do, but I'd like to do something, because, like I say, it is a big anniversary.
Yeah.
Right. I think we're done, aren't we?
We are done. So thank you.
We're going to call it a night.
Very much. Especially for all of those super generous donations.
Yes, thank you all. Thanks for watching.
If you're not a Patreon, that's the best place to support us, mainly because you get a ton of extra content.
You do.
You get like an additional, like us talking about whatever movie we reviewed that week, which is usually like a 10-minute banter like this. And then every week, Robin also does an extra bonus video this year on Kurosawa.
Yeah.
Last year, it was all the Hitchcock films.
Last year, it was silent films.
And the year before that,
it was the Hitchcock films.
All right. So, yeah. And so there's this massive archive
There's loads to watch.
Geez, like yeah.
Well,
Like,
yeah, I mean, there's
Probably
53 episodes on Hitchcock, 52 on silent film, however many weeks it's been. This, I think 5 on Kurosawa so far, but they'll just keep coming.
And then like about 250 odd what we call detractors commentaries.
Yes.
So all of that's readily available. You even get a bonus review the second you start up, no matter what level you're on. So
yeah.
for $1, you can see our review of Dark Corners.
Yeah, and $1 will also get you the Hitchcock one, the
Yeah.
Kurosawa one, and the silent film one. You don't have to be at one of the higher levels for that.
So yeah, you can just get
great stuff.
Get 1 month, just binge it all and cancel like we do with streaming services.
Yeah, it's not so funny when other people do it to us.
So thank you very much.
Thanks,
it's always good fun doing this. We go to bed because we've got to shoot the whole next 8 episodes tomorrow. So cool. Thank you very much. And
Good night.
Good night.